MovieWeb.com.
Did you sort of do the method actor thing and actually sleep in a car for a while?
I did not, but I did sleep in a car one night.
Just one night?
Just to see, yeah. Not for a while, but just to see basically mainly how I felt. And I had slept in a car before, I don't want to get into it. But no, I just wanted to remember what it's like when you have to scrunch yourself up and then how it feels on your body when you have to get out and stretch back out.
I was gonna say, I also thought the wardrobe did a good job of making these clothes look real lived in that you're wearing in the film. I'm wondering, did you like have the grips wear your clothes on and then put them on right before shooting, or?
A lot of them were my clothes. In fact, I just realized that this shirt is in the movie, briefly. But yeah, a lot of it was my clothes. But yeah, we had an amazing costume designer. Her name's Daphne Javits. She's a close friend of Mariana's, and yeah, she always likes to. Her pet peeve is when clothes look new on people, and especially for a guy like my character, she wanted to make sure it all looked real, lived in.
No, with Mariana, were you guys friends before doing this project?
Yeah, we've known each other for like 9 years or something like that. We went to acting school together, and So we've been. I always don't know whether I should say this or not, but yeah, we've been dating for like 9 years.
Oh, okay. So you guys have been together.
Yeah.
So this isn't a stretch for you to get on film and do some of these romantic scenes.
Yes, exactly.
So you're pretty comfortable.
I'm pretty comfortable, yes.
Well, how is that being with somebody for 9 years and then all of a sudden have to take direction from them, like from behind the camera?
That was pretty, it was good. It was much better than I thought. Because I was nervous that, like, you know, I don't know, with all the stress of a movie, because we know each other so well, who knows if we would start snapping at each other in front of people and humiliate ourselves.
Yeah.
And have them go, wow, this relationship that they're putting on camera is much better than their real life one. No, it was actually really nice. She was really strangely calm through the whole thing, and I was stressing out and sweating over every tiny little, thing that went wrong. But she was really cool, and we also had rehearsed a lot before, so that a lot of the direction stuff had come out in rehearsal in the privacy of our own apartment.
Well, now, does the stress come from being a producer on the project?
That was mainly what it was, because I knew that if something went terribly wrong, the responsibility comes down to the four of us producers. And there was one night, I think actually the first night that we were shooting in our apartment building, we had gone around to all of our neighbors and just totally lied and been like, you probably won't even notice that we're here. Like, don't worry about it. And we gave them wine and chocolate and stuff like that to sort of,
subdue them.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And then the first night that we were shooting, we blew out the electricity in the entire complex, and it was right around the time that people were trying to get home, and the garage door is electric, so they couldn't get in, and other people were trying to leave to go see a play, and they couldn't get out, and I was just freaking out. I thought they were going to say, well, we thought, you told us that we weren't going to notice you, this totally ruins our day, get out. But everyone was so cool about it. All of our neighbors were fantastic, and it was just me who was sort of freaking out for.
That's good. What neighborhood was that in?
West Side, West LA, Wilshire.
They're usually pretty good over there.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. Well, I want to know, watching the movie, I want to know why you guys made the decision to make sort of the backstories more ambiguous, and if you actually had mapped out backstories for both characters so you knew what was going on.
Mariana.
The audience doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, well, none of the backstory was really in the script ever, but Mariana had written out sort of at least a page for every single character, of like a character sheet, the backstory, their especially with the four guys, their relationships to each other, how long they had each known each other for. I mean, it was all very specific, which was great, because a lot of times you have to come up with that stuff on your own, and sometimes you can forget a certain element, and so there's something that's sort of not specific in your relationship with some other actor. And so anyway, that was really nice. But yeah, so we knew the whole backstory for all of the different characters, and she really wanted that to be there, so that even though we don't tell it tell the audience it's specific for us, so that it's not like we're just generally playing something. We all know exactly what the sequence of events have been in our lives to lead us up to this point. And it was just Mariana's choice to leave it ambiguous to the audience and allow them to fill in the puzzle pieces for themselves. And I think a lot of times the less that you tell someone about a character, the more they can empathize with the character. Like, the more you find out about a character, the more you can compare it against yourself and say, well, I'm not like that, or well, I'm like that. Whereas when you leave it completely ambiguous, sometimes an audience member can go, maybe I'm not so far away from that character.
Well, I'm wondering, have you had like audience members who, after they see it, come up to you and tell you what they think she says to you at the end of the movie?
No, actually, no. People have asked me what she said, but no one ever has had.
Also, no one ever just goes, "I know what she said."
I know what she said. She said, "I'm never seeing you again, you louse." No, no one's ever ventured a guess, or at least not to us. Maybe privately.
Oh, okay. Well, because last night I was like, "I know what she said," but.
What do you think she said?
I thought she said, "My dad fucked me," but that's horrible, isn't it? But that's what I thought. From her perspective, that's the way she would have said it.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Well, whatever it is that she says, it's the truth, and it's like, and it's vulnerable for her. For whatever it is, it's like something deep and dark like that. So yeah, that's an absolutely viable possibility.
No, with the guys in the video store, did you know all of those guys, like Martin Starr and the other two, before you came onto this?
Martin Starr was the only guy that we met through the course of this movie. I had Eric Edelstein, who's the tall guy. I'd known him through sort of like some of the comedy places in LA, and Mark Webber I had done a play with a couple years before. So yeah, I knew those two guys, but Martin I didn't know. But he just came and fit right in. It was pretty cool.
Well, how did they do the video scenes? Because did they have to? Because that's a pretty popular video store down in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
Did they shut down the store, or?
We initially asked them to. That's what our first idea was, and then. But what happens with that is that they lose all this business, and so we would have to pay for all of that business that they would be losing. But what they did, because they're so awesome, and that's our video store, we love going there, and they knew us at that point a little bit. They would close at midnight, and then they reopened the next morning at 10. So that was the window of time. They would just pass the keys off to us in the morning, and then we'd pass the keys at midnight, and then we'd pass them back the keys at 10. So it was crazy because for the first 6 hours of the day, we would do all the night stuff. We would eat as the sun was rising, and then we'd have another 4 or 5 hours, from 7 until 10. And then we'd have to get out, and we would all be completely delirious at that point.
And you'd have to clean up the store so it was customer ready and stuff before you got in there?
Absolutely, yeah. We had to clear everything out, and so we would start clearing out, before we had finished shooting, just to try to get it on time. But we always made our days, and we're always on time, but we were always completely slap happy by the end.
I bet. Well, I'm wondering, did you guys or did you personally get more of a taste for some of the more cultish films that you could find in that store?
Yeah.
Like shooting in there when you're got a free moment.
Oh yeah.
The videos.
Well, also because they have all of these great sections in that store. It's not necessarily by genre. They have a whole section in that store called Glasses Tippin' section, where it's all movies where on the poster someone's looking over their glasses. So it's Look Who's Talking, to right next to Lolita, right next to License to Drive.
I was going to say License to Drive is the one I remember.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think Back to the Future is in there, even though it's above. But so it's all different sections like that. And my favorite section, I don't know if this is allowed to say, but there's a section in Cinephile called Holy Fucking Shit, and they're all just the most bizarre movies. And there's one in particular that I found that they turned me on to while I was there, called Shakma, about a killer baboon that is just so amazing.
Shockma.
Shockma.
I've got to check that one
You
out.
gotta check it out.
I've never even heard of that before.
Unbelievable. It's the guy from the Blue Lagoon is the main guy.
Oh yeah, Chris Atkins.
Yes, exactly.
Something
Chris
like-
Atkinson or
something-
Atkins. Yes.
Atkins, I think it is.
Something like that. Yeah. But it's just so amazing. They're these science guys, and they're in a laboratory, and they're playing this giant Dungeons and Dragons game, and that's why they're all in this building. So it's just so.
And the baboon comes in and tears them up.
Yeah, well, there's a scene where they've been doing experiments on animals, and so the baboon, they mess up the experiment, and they say go kill the baboon. And the guy has the poison, and he puts it down, and then he picks up the sleeping medication and injects that into the baboon. So the baboon wakes up, and he's this rage.
It sounds awesome.
It's awesome.
So, well, that's my
anyway,
time.
so,
Sorry.
yeah.
Just one quick thing.
Yeah.
What do you hope audiences take from seeing Good Dick?
I hope that they take away that that love and relationships come in all different forms, and if you watch whatever giant romantic comedy starring whoever stars of these times, and you don't necessarily connect with them, you go, wow, how great for all those extremely handsome and
Knights in Rodanthe. That just came out this weekend.
yes, exactly. You go, wow, that must be so nice to just be able to travel all around and fall in love, and those serve a purpose. But I hope that in this one, you see that people will take away that you can be a little bit fucked up and still be the star of your own story and still be worthy of being loved, not in spite of your flaws, but also even because of them.